The way he angles his body, where he puts all of his body weight on his left hand and just extends just enough to just scrape the pylon. Those are the plays that decide Super Bowls. That's why every single time, I always talk about it, guys, at the beginning of the season, if the team is just good enough around Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. That isn't something that should just be done every week. No one in the history of football makes plays like this every week outside of Patrick Mahomes.
I want to thank all the talking heads and all the doubt. Yep. Keep it coming. Like, all it does is anytime you can give petty Mahomes the motivation, bro, I'm all for it. That's why I was excited when, you know, all these people were saying these things. It's like, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
If I'm feeling boosted and juiced by it, can you imagine what he's feeling?
It is time, therefore we are live. It is the Chattin of the Chiefs Game Postgame show. In case you guys, because it feels like it's forever, let's get caught up here with the people, Trevor, for a second. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. We feel like we've missed you guys, because we've definitely missed you guys. We've been definitely missing you guys for almost 3 weeks now. We've had a lot of holiday festive things going on that have kind of just taken Trevor and I away from this show, and Book in particular. He's a busy guy. He's been moving from all over the country, got a lot of family things, birthdays, and then obviously Christmas, New Year's, all on top of that. It's been chaotic, just like this Chiefs season. But nevertheless, guys, we're still here to have fun. We are back. I am your host, Lance Twidwell, here with my co-host, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good, everybody?
Our guy Book will be missing today. He's got a big dinner event that he's got to go, because like I said, when you're a celebrity, you got things to do, you got things to take care of. He leaves us here. He trusts us to take care of business. And it's been a long time, like I said, guys. We've definitely missed you, and we are really happy, really excited to sit here and talk about the Chiefs ending their season on a high note. This is something now that we get to look at, because don't look now, guys, but the Chiefs are now on a 2-game winning streak for the first time since October. And if you guys also didn't know, the Chiefs have won 3 of their last 4 games. I know. Tonight's game, in the grand scheme of things, is overall meaningless. We know this is something that we were all fully aware of it. The Chiefs can't move up or down in the seedings. They were locked in the 3 seed before this week even began. So we know that in the grand scheme of things, the Chiefs didn't come in this game with really any intention of putting out starters, putting out guys that, you know, were going to be the guys that they're leading the team into the postseason. We knew all that. But as Trevor and I talked on our weekly show on Saturday, the Spoken Podcast, the thing I wanted to see in this game is a few things. I wanted to see Andy Reid just let Blaine Gabbert go out there and just target the hell out of these wide receivers that may, in fact, play a role in the postseason. We know that McCole Hardman just got off the IR. We know that Justin Ross is a guy the Chiefs have believed in his talent for 2 years now. He just needed to get healthy. We know that Richie James was an offseason acquisition. These were 3 guys that I wanted to see get opportunities in this offense tonight, and that is exactly what took place, and that is exactly where I want to start, Trevor, and as far as the game is concerned. But first and foremost, I don't want to take over the platform. Trevor, how you doing tonight, man? How was Christmas and New Year's? I know I'm asking you this from the perspective of you and I spent both of those together, but let the people know, man.
It's been a while.
How's it been going for you for these last couple of weeks?
Oh, man, well, I mean, as I said, we alluded to a little bit on the show yesterday. I had been sick, honestly, for a couple weeks. I was good on Christmas, but my kids were sick, and then I got whatever they had on Christmas, so I was sick during New Year's. It wasn't the best holiday season for me, but overall, I could, take the positives from it, and, the Chiefs have won back-to-back games, with the starters and the backups. So, considering all things, everything's been good on my end, man. But, just staying busy, and preparing as the Chiefs are for this postseason, and preparing for hopefully some positive content moving forward, for these next few weeks. So.
It's definitely been a weird season, to say the least. We know that the things haven't gone exactly as we had hoped. The standard has changed in Kansas City over these last 6 years, so a season like this in the previous eras would be such a success already. We'd be looking at a team that's making the 3 seed. They basically got a glorified bye to end their season, get rested, and ready for a home playoff game. Any other time before the Mahomes era, you're looking at that like, oh my God, this is one of the best seasons we've had in our lifetime. So we know that this season's been a little bit more on the negative swing of things, and that's okay because we now expect and demand to this team to hold up that Super Bowl standard. And this team is still a team that, although me and Trevor very much have our strong inclinations that this team could very well lose before the Super Bowl. This is a team I question whether they're Super Bowl worthy or not. Make no mistake about it, guys. This team can beat anybody in the postseason. And tonight's game, for me, like I said, I know it was a meaningless one, but I thought there was meaning in this game for the Chiefs and very unique individual ways. Let me start this off by saying, because I know I said I wanted to start with the receivers, but I'm going to actually kind of Tarantino this thing a little bit, because I actually want to go a little bit further back. So we knew that coming into this matchup, there was a strong chance that Travis Kelce was going to play in this game to get his 16 yards so he can extend his streak of 8 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards. Something myself and Trevor, I know, felt that that's something that Travis Kelce should not only go after, but should have the right to do so. He's very much earned that right. And we don't know the actual language of what took place between him and the coaches, if there was any language at all. It could have just very well been Andy Reid letting him know.
He seemed pretty happy on the sidelines.
He seemed. I mean, obviously he was probably
spirits.
trying to be in good spirits for the team.
Sure.
I don't want to speak for Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I was a little disappointed. And in fact, I actually vehemently disagree with that, because I know people say, well, he could get injured. I agree, guys. Yeah. But we're talking about a guy that this season was getting around 11 yards per reception. I have a hard time believing that he was going to get injured within 2 plays, which is all it was going to really take for him to get this, to extend the record. I know that the record isn't the ultimate goal here. I understand that they have bigger aspirations as a team. I just felt that they should have given Travis Kelce that chance. Now, let's say it's 3 possessions deep, and he still hasn't gotten it. Obviously, you let him sit, and then you say, okay, Travis, we gave you some opportunities. We don't want to extend an opportunity for you to get injured in this game. We've had the ball 2 or 3 times now. It's time for us to let you go and sit and get rested for the postseason. But that isn't what happened. If he was 50 to 100 yards away, I wouldn't have minded them sitting him to begin with. In fact, I probably would have supported that. But the fact that he was literally just a touchdown or a first down and a half away from getting that record, or extending the record, I would have liked him to be able to go after it. Nevertheless, 7 consecutive seasons for a tight end to have 1,000 or more yards is something that I don't know if it's going to be ever be broken again.
Probably. I mean, maybe with the way the NFL is going, these new tight ends.
Sure, but we're talking about some of the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe had 2 or 3 at most 1,000-yard seasons in total, and these are guys like Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, Antonio Gates, some of the greatest. Rob Gronkowski. Some of the greats of all time only had maybe a couple, at best, of 1,000-yard seasons. What Travis Kelce has done, a streak that began even before Patrick Mahomes came around, is something that you just cannot take anything away from. He is the greatest tight end I think that's ever played this game. The fact that he falls 16 yards short doesn't take anything away from his game. And I do believe that Travis Kelce is going to continue his career. I know there's a lot of speculation out there as to whether he will or not.
Right.
I am of the full belief, until proven otherwise, that he will be a Chief next season.
Right, yeah.
And hopefully he can get back to getting over 1,000 yards with relative ease.
I do want to throw one thing out there just to highlight a comment here real quick from our guy, John Harrison. What up, John? He quotes a source from a stat sourced from Mitch Holtis. Since 2016, with this win, since 2016, the Chiefs are now 41-7 against the AFC West.
41-7.
I mean,
against your own division, man.
That is crazy, bro.
That's absolutely just bad baby material right there, bro.
That's a short span too to be that dominant. I mean, to rack up 41 wins since 2016 is crazy.
And Andy Reid, what he's done in these last 10, 11 years, man, is just nothing short of incredible. And outside of the Patriots dynasty, I think when it's all said and done, this is gonna be the second greatest dynasty of all time, maybe the best. And I don't say that hyperbolically.
And it should be more wins, because we've had a couple losses to like the Chargers.
Yeah.
When we sat all our starters and we were already in the postseason. So it could have been more. It could have been 42-43.
A couple other things I want to get to when it came to this game, because, again, I know that we are all just kind of watching this game, just hoping that the team stays as healthy as possible. And trust me, we'll get to a couple of key injuries in this particular matchup. But a couple things I want to point out in this game is we saw the Chargers start the game off on offense looking pretty fluid. Easton Stick and Austin Eckler, it seemed like they were catching a rhythm, going down the field with relative ease. Chris Jones played a lot, so we knew that there were some starters, Charles Omenihu, guys like that were out there on the field, and it looked like the Chargers' scripted drive was working with succession all the way to the point where they were getting down to about the 10-yard line. And then what happens, Trevor? Our guy, Steve Bagnolo, and his captains go out there and make a motherfucking play. What happens, Trevor? On the 3-yard line,
old Charlie boy.
Absolute strip sack. Or not strip sack, but a strip fumble from Charlie Sacks himself, Charles Omenihu.
Mike Edwards.
And Mike Edwards gets the scoop and score a 97-yard touchdown. Absolutely awesome play to start this game off for the Chiefs. Yes, the offense looked slow to start the game off for the Chiefs.
The most important play of the game.
But to see that play, yes, to see them start the game off that way, setting the tone once again, it is such a symbolic way for the Chiefs to start this game defensively, where they are the reason why the Chiefs win this game. They just needed their quarterback to make a couple plays, and Blaine Gabbert did, mostly with his legs. Crazy enough,
50 rushing yards today.
50 rushing yards tonight. Two big first downs on 3rd and long.
Yeah.
I might add down the stretch.
He didn't throw very well.
Didn't throw very well, but that's not something you expect your backup quarterback to do, is to go in there and just be on the mark all game long.
Yeah,
He's
Blaine
rusty.
was 5 for 46 on rushing.
But to see him go out there, like I said, and make just a couple key plays to help the defense out, really low scoring game, to go out there on the road technically. I mean, it was literally like 75-25 Chiefs fans out there in the stands.
Yeah.
It was still technically a road game because the Chiefs actually had to go in the air and travel somewhere. But I really love the fact, like I said, that the Chiefs defense set the tone with this one. And Mike Edwards, like I said, both these guys being offseason acquisitions that Brett Veach brought in, that's high praise to Brett Veach. Those are the two guys that made this type of play. And these are the two guys that could very well be making plays in the postseason. And that only swings in the favor of Brett Veach, because we know that there's been some negatives this year for Brett Veach. The optics haven't been great for how he's handled things with the wide receiver room. But Trev, I want to hand it off to you. This is a great sign for what this defense can do, even with their backups out there, that these captains are still out there making big plays in games that people deem meaningless.
Well, especially for Amenahu. I mean, he was incredible against the Bengals. Had some of the best plays defensively, probably the best defensive player in that game. He was all over the place, batted ball, sacks. So he's been really coming on as of late, which is important for this defense. We're going to need another guy like that to really start dominating alongside Chris Jones. I really wanted to see some more out of Felix. Didn't see too much out of him, if I'm being honest. He had, I think he had did he have a sack? I'm not sure if he had a sack, but he had a nice,
Charles Minahu?
No, Felix. No, he did not have a sack, but he had a nice tackle coming around when Easton Stick was trying to run away from him. He got out of the pocket and he was scrambling, he was running downfield, but he came from the opposite side and caught him, got to him pretty quickly. So he's still got some juice. He's got a pretty good quick step to him, but overall, man, yeah, I mean, Mike Edwards taking that to the crib for 97 yards. That was awesome to see. And then Charles Amenahu doing what he did. And then obviously Chris Jones. I mean, that was a fun scene to see, man, where he got that sack, got that incentive, got that millie, got what he came back for, honestly, this year. That was the only real incentive he had. And he said, too, in his pressers earlier this year, I'm going to get that incentive. Didn't get Defensive Player of the Year, but this is about the second closest thing you can get to holding up his word on things. So happy for Chris Jones. It was really cool seeing to see all his coaches and all the teammates hugging him, showing that how loved that guy is in this city, how loved that guy is in this locker room, how important that guy is to this team and this defense. So overall, man, I was definitely happy with the defense's performance. I mean, I think we know what we're capable of, and I think even with these rotational guys, who was it? Nick Jones.
No, Cam Jones.
Or Cam Jones, I'm sorry. Cam Jones was all over the place, dude. That guy looked incredible. He was making plays all over the field, whether it was rushing the passer or open field tackles. He was everywhere. I was really liking what I seen out of him. And these rotational guys, this is kind of their opportunity to lick their chops and really get their highlight reel out there. You know what I mean? So it was good to see some of those guys get their opportunities. Some the Deion Joneses and all those guys as well. Getting to run around out there. Leo Chenal getting some more run. Good to see him out there making some tackles. So I mean, overall, man, this defense did their job. Held them out, till the very end. We had to hold them to a field goal there. Yeah, man, this scheme that Spags is running this year is incredible. Granted, we weren't playing a great team, but they did what they did. They took care of the competition and didn't allow any real big breakaway plays. Easton Stick was running all over the place, but other than that, that was really their only offense. The Chargers' offense today was Easton Stick scrambling around and running and getting rushing yards. So other than that, the defense was incredible.
Yeah, those are the next 2 points I wanted to bring up was Chris Jones and Cam Jones. But starting with Chris Jones, from my perspective, a lot of people are sitting here, taking the easy route, saying like, well, he sat out the first game, so therefore, him playing for these incentives in this game kind of looks bad. For me, guys, I think it goes deeper than that because of the fact that, Chris Jones was trusting representation to get this done between him and the Chiefs. We all know how this story went. We're not going to have to sit here and rehash it all, but we know the Katz brothers were the ones that really beefed all this because those are the guys that are supposed to get these negotiations unified, things get smoothed over with the team, and they let Chris Jones know what the offers are. These guys are the ones that absolutely screwed this up. I didn't like that Chris Jones sat out the first game, but I also understand the fact that there have to be agreements in place, and we've seen just this season alone that players get cut. And James, the whole James Cook situation, or not James Cook, but a Dalvin Cook situation with the Jets, came there to be an asset. They just let him walk. There's been several players through all sports that teams show that there is no such thing as loyalty, and Chris Jones is one of those pivotal pieces to this team. He knows his value to this team, but he also knows that he no longer plays to the best of his abilities. The Chiefs will remove him, and it's justifiable according to them, even though there's a contract, quote unquote, to honor. Chris Jones wants to go out there and get the most money he possibly can. So I didn't fault him necessarily for that first game. I think that he got a lot of negative pushback from fans that otherwise would appreciate everything Chris Jones has done for this team and for this organization, for this fan base, because he's been nothing short of amazing. And now that he hit that incentive, got 10.5 sacks, ties George Karlaftis for the league, the team lead for sacks. This is now his fourth season, if I'm not mistaken, or third season with double-digit sacks as a defensive tackle, and is now the fifth time that he's at least shared the lead for sacks on this team. To think about what Chris Jones has done is nothing short of incredible. It just, you guys can't put a price tag on. This is why, and I will continue to talk about in this offseason when all the questions and speculation come up as to who the Chiefs will or should keep in free agency or sign long-term. Is it L'Jarius Sneed? Is it Willie Gay? Is it any of these other pieces? Guys, I'm always going to start at the top of my list with Chris Jones. I understand he's 30 years old. I understand that on the open market, he's not going to get a big chunk of money like he probably thinks he should. But I look at it like this. The value he brings to this team, the fact that Brett Veach has never had to build a defense without him in the center of it, is a benefit and something that I don't think Brett Veach wants to move off just yet, because he's shown zero signs of slowing down. I mean, guys, in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, Chris Jones had 9 pressures. Again, I know this is a meaningless game, but seeing him dominate like that is just a testament of his greatness. And when he turns it on, there are very few guys in the history of this league that I've seen dominate the middle of an offensive line like Chris Jones has. Right. Since his second season in the league, this man has averaged over 10 sacks a season. That's insane for a guy at his position. A guy that gets double-teamed over 70% of the time on an annual basis.
Yeah, that's unicorn shit.
It's unicorn shit. Yeah. So if the Chiefs are thinking about signing one of these defensive players long-term, it shouldn't be L'Jarius Sneed. It shouldn't be Willie Gay. If it comes down to where they have to choose one, it should be Chris Jones, and I don't even think it's a debate. And I love that he got his incentive tonight, and I'm happy that he got his money. And in the words of KGB of Rounders, pays that man his money. He beat me. That's what Brett Veach is saying right now, because he beat him. He got his incentive. Congratulations to Chris Jones.
And I do want to detail Cam Jones' game tonight. He did have 12 tackles. 12
solo solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle.
Yeah.
You know, what Cam Jones did tonight,
all over the place.
It felt kind of preseason-y with him. Like, oh, it's a really cool impression. You never hear from him again. Yeah. But you got to give him his credit for what he did. He was out there all over the field, just flying all over the place, getting open field tackles. Mm-hmm. I mean, Trevor, we haven't seen this guy play this well. And for him to do that, that's a really good sign that if, in fact, one of these other linebackers goes down in the postseason, hopefully that's not the case.
Right.
But if it is the fact, I feel confident with Cam Jones going out there and playing, because he played tonight as if it was a playoff game. He showed that intensity, and I'm not saying this guy's going to be a world beater. I'm saying, though, that he is depth. He's legit
like
depth.
Fresh legs to me.
He looked like fresh legs. Yeah. Exactly. There was legit depth behind him, and I think that that's a really good sign for the Chiefs. Like I said, if there is an injury. And speaking of injuries, that's something I want to talk about too. Yeah. We know that not every starter can rest. We know that, you're going to have to play some of these guys. And oftentimes when teams rest players, it's usually the offensive line that has guys out there playing. We saw Joe Thuney play a lot today. Creed Humphrey played late into the game. Trace Pancake Papa. Like all these guys were out there.
Yep.
The Chiefs played both their starting tackles as well, which I understand. But I felt like once Wanye Morris went down with the concussion, I felt that Andy Reid should have probably taken that as a sign that, maybe I should start pulling some of these guys. Maybe I should, pull the reins back a little bit and let some of these other guys like Lucas Niang and Nick Allegretti kind of take some of these spots here and there. I felt like that was the right thing to do. What he didn't do instead is he kept Juwan Taylor out there, and not only kept him out there, but moved him to left tackle, which makes me very nervous, because that's not only the more important position, but that's a tougher position, and it's a position that Juwan Taylor is not familiarized with. And what happens, Trevor? He got hurt, looked scary at first, not as scary as we had hoped, or not. It wasn't as bad as it looked. He ended up coming back in the game, but this was something that I think the Chiefs really dodged a bullet here. I was really worried. Sure, I saw that Wanya has a concussion, so he's going to have to go through concussion protocol. This is something that I think is going to have to be paid attention to all week long.
Right.
But now that Juwan Taylor is back, I think the Chiefs definitely dodged a bullet in this one, and I'm hoping that is the trend when it comes to Wanya Morris, because Wanya concerns me a little bit as the starting left tackle. I'm not so sure if he's going to be the guy long term. In fact, if I was to choose right now, if I was the GM for the Chiefs, I would choose that the Chiefs pick a left tackle as soon as they possibly can in the NFL draft, because I don't know if Wanya is going to be the long-term answer there. And even though the Juwan Taylor has this long-term contract, I don't think that Juwan Taylor is going to be a left tackle for the foreseeable future. I think that Juwan Taylor is a right tackle. That's why I always questioned the contract that the Chiefs gave him, because I felt like they overpaid for the inferior position. For the inferior position when it comes to both tackles. I just think that Andy Reid may have mishandled this one a little bit tonight. Like I said, once Wanya went out, I felt like maybe, okay, let's pull Juwan because we can't lose both of our tackles.
Right.
And that could have very well been the case tonight. So what did you think about that situation, Trevor? I mean, obviously there's going to be a risk for injury no matter what's going on or what occasion, what scenario it is. But I felt like that situation may have been a little bit mishandled, and the Chiefs got away pretty lucky because Juwan Taylor looks like he's going to be fine.
Well, and Juwan Taylor, yeah, like you said, he came back in the game.
Right.
Right? So, I mean, he obviously seemed good enough to where he avoided something and was just fine to go back in there. But anytime we got issues, we've already had issues at left tackle pretty much all year, right? With, Donovan Smith, hurting his neck. And then, we've had to, and then Wanya Morris, who knows when he's going to be back, how bad that concussion is. We've seen that keep guys out for weeks. Not too sure, man. I obviously you want to avoid injuries. And losing offensive linemen at this time, heading the week before you had to start heading into and preparing for the postseason, that's never a good thing. So I wasn't very happy with how it was handled, but at the same time, maybe it was more of a lack of preparation thing than it was rotation guys and how they wanted to handle in game and making a poor decision in moment. But I just think maybe it's a depth issue. Maybe because like I said, you said we put in Joe Tooney at left tackle. So, I mean, the depth at left tackle is pretty scarce right now, unfortunately. And what are we going to do moving forward? Is Donovan Smith good to go moving forward? I mean, who knows what the situation is going to be.
Is Donovan Smith even good?
True. And it's a neck issue, too, which is, he didn't even go in the game. Obviously, he didn't suit up today. I think he's been cleared. I think he's good to go moving forward. But, I mean, who knows what the Wanya Morris and how good Wanya Morris is. He hasn't been too great. He started out pretty good. But as far as the way the game went today, I just think they were trying to just do enough to get by and get out of this game. And the fact that, Juwan's okay is the main issue here. I'm glad he's all right. I'm glad we didn't lose him and Wanya. That'd have been a massive deal. We've already struggled with them being, or at least Juwan being a penalized guy, but at the same time, we need him out there. We need him healthy. We need bodies like that. So
with his contract alone.
Yeah, man. That was probably the darkest issue of the day, losing Wanya. So hopefully the rookie is okay. Hopefully he gets through that concussion protocol and is good to go for the postseason.
And here's the worry, Trevor, because if Wanya is not good to go next week, and let's say Donovan Smith is still injured, you're talking about the Chiefs down to their third left tackle. Now, I know everyone's going to start theorizing that, Joe Tooney should be the left tackle. Guys, you got to stop that.
We need him in the interior.
I hate the fact that local radio in Kansas City started theorizing on that because he played that one half against the Bengals 2 years ago, and he looked fine.
Yeah.
Guys, Joe Tooney is not a left tackle.
He is an emergency left tackle.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
But you don't want to go into the postseason with Joe Tooney as your left tackle because I promise you that's not a good situation. So let's hope that Wanya, as crazy as it sounds, who is their best option right now, can clear protocol these next few days and get back into practice. And I'm with you on that, Trevor. I think that was the one real glaring issue I saw from the team today, and it's just the luck of the draw. Unfortunately, I was hoping that Andy Reid, like I said, would pull in the reins a little bit and play some Lucas Niang, play somebody like that.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't make an appeance.
Well, he played some, but not enough. And I was just as soon as that happened, it would be just all right. Let's get him out of there.
Sure.
But when it comes to the wide receivers, though, man, this was what I was talking about a lot on our show at the Spoken Podcast. This is what I wanted to see, and we saw a lot of it tonight, guys. McCole Hardman got 11 targets today. That's by far the most he's had, maybe as a Chief ever.
Yeah, 6 for 77.
6 receptions for 77 yards. Then you had Justin Ross get 4 targets. I think he would have gotten more, but he ultimately got that hamstring injury. I don't think it's going to be something overly severe, but I think that it tweaked a little bit.
He looked good.
He looked really good. His hands looked fine. In fact, I think he made a catch tonight that was maybe the highlight of MVS's career if he would have made the catch.
He high-pointed that ball. That was a high ball, too.
And then Justin Ross or Richie James only got 2 targets. We had 15 yards.
Yeah, he looked good,
looked good in special teams as well. Seeing those guys on the field a lot tonight, although, let's be brutally honest, that's a bottom barrel wide receiver room.
Yeah.
That is, to me, a better bottom barrel wide receiver room than the one they've been pulling out there for the last 15, 16 weeks because of the fact that this one can at least catch the damn ball. And that's what we saw tonight. I believe there was only 1 drop tonight in this game, and I think it was McColl on that one. That one just it just happens. And again, McColl is a wide receiver 3 at best. So him dropping a pass is something I can live with when he goes out there and has a performance like he did tonight with the 6 catches for 77 yards. That's what I'm asking for from these guys. When the ball's in your vicinity, go up there and snag it as well. It was unfortunate to not see Noah Gray out there for more reasons than one, because Trevor could have got himself a nice little payday if Noah got himself a little end zone action.
$1,200.
But the Chiefs clearly their offense was not there to get in the red zone tonight. They just squeaked out a low-scoring victory, just got Butker into field goal range, and we all know how that story ends every single time. The Butker is just automatic. It's never a doubt with him. Yeah. I think that he's one of the 5 greatest kickers we've ever seen, and I don't say that lightly. You look at it from a percentage standpoint. You look at it from a moment standpoint. This guy's already got some of the biggest moments in playoff history, some big-time knockdown field goals and clutch moments in big games that have helped save the Chiefs season and get them to the Super Bowl and help win Super Bowls. I don't take it lightly when I say that Butker is really making a case for himself, and he's only 28 years old. I think this guy, if he continues to play the way he's playing and kick the way he's playing, it wouldn't shock me, Trevor, if one of these days we see a little cutout of his face in the Hall of Fame. I'm not saying that lightly because I know that's hard to do. Yeah. But Butker has he's put himself in that upper echelon next to Justin Tucker and Younghoe Koo and other kickers like that have made an historic amount of field goals at a high percentage. And it's something we can't take lightly here, and we're very lucky to have him in Kansas City. And think that John Dorsey went and got him off the Panthers practice squad.
Right.
It's something that you don't see every single day, and I love that story that we got him. But like I said, overall, I thought this game was pretty much what I expected. I was expecting a little bit more of a higher scoring game, but I felt like the Chiefs did enough offensively to get the job done, and I love the fact that the defense set the tone from the start. One more thing I want to mention also, Trevor, is the fact that, and anybody out there that is a hater, go ahead and just do one of these for me real quick, because you're not going to want to hear this.
Earmuffs.
FAU looked good tonight, boys and girls. FAU looked good. I know.
I wanted more, but yeah.
Everybody, yes, of course. Everybody's saying that first round pick was a wasted pick, or it was a political pick because the Chiefs were hosting the draft and he was a local kid. Guys, go look at FAU's college career. This dude was Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. This dude is a badass. The reason why you haven't seen him on the field a lot this season isn't because he's not a good football player. It's because there's better football players ahead of him that are making actual money. The Chiefs can afford, when you're drafting at the bottom of the first round every single season, sometimes you can take those risks. That's what the Chiefs did 3-4 years ago with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Was it a great pick? No. But the Chiefs just came off a Super Bowl victory, and they felt like, hey, you know what? We could take a little bit of a risk here because we have a team that can win the Super Bowl again. And they should have that season had it not been for their offensive line. It had nothing to do with that Clyde Edwards-Helaire pick. It was the fact that their offensive line was depleted. They should have repeated as champions. Yeah. So those kinds of picks are affordable for teams like the Chiefs. And like I said, when you're at the bottom of the first round, a lot of times you're taking guys that may not succeed. It's those first 15 to 20 picks that are those premium picks, and that's where the Chiefs just never seem to get themselves because of the success. That is the curse of success, if you will. And I think that FAU is one of those guys that people are sleeping on. And if we remember anything, Trevor, George Karlaftis, who are already his first season on, has been impressive. Sure. Only had 6 sacks his first season and was the 30th overall pick. That's only 1 pick fewer than where FAU was.
He was immediately needed as a starter.
Yeah.
So
and FAU was
different situation.
That's the difference, because there already was a George Karlaftis. There already was a Charles Omenihu. There already was a Mike Dana. There's guys ahead of them. Right. So, guys, in 2024, that's when you can start legitimately criticizing or praising FAU for what he is. But I saw him. He was fast off the line. There were a few times, Trevor, where he was overcommitting on the pass rush.
Missed a couple
he
plays.
he overextended himself. I think that's the excitement as a young player finally getting on the field.
Should have had a sack.
He's on a turf field as well, so sometimes you look a little faster than what you actually are. But I think overall, FAU impressed me. He got several pressures in this game. It was good to see Malik Herring get in the sack column. It was good as hell, like I said, to see these guys out there being effective. It didn't matter who was on the field. The defense stayed effective. The defense stayed dominant and kept their opponent to 12 points. I think the Chiefs now are going to finish second in the league in points allowed, something that we should not take lightly here in Kansas City. And with the AFC playoff picture now opening up, this defense plays this way. Do not be shocked if the Chiefs win the AFC Championship, guys. Because even though the Chiefs have their struggles on offense, and trust me when I say I'm very, very concerned about them, I'm very, very worried the fact that we all know that MVS is going to be getting snaps in the postseason. I am concerned about that legitimately, and if Kadarius Toney gets snaps in this, I'm going to be legitimately concerned because they sat him in this week, which wouldn't make sense because you'd want to get him in rhythm. But this defense can get the Chiefs deep into the postseason. It can happen.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, we have a quick question from our guy Brian Parrott.
Absolutely.
Having seen the games, who do we get if Miami wins? So I'm guessing we can have that conversation about, is it going to be the Steelers? Is it going to be the Dolphins? I think those are the only two teams we can face at this point.
So the Chiefs can only face two teams right now. It is the Dolphins or it is the Steelers. So if the Dolphins lose to the Bills tonight,
right,
the Dolphins will be coming to Kansas City next week. If the Dolphins beat the Bills tonight, the Steelers will be coming to Kansas City. And the Dolphins will get the 2 seed and then face the Bills again for a second straight week in Miami again.
Right.
It's a crazy situation we got going here, but because the Jaguars lost, the way that things have shaped up, now it's only 2 teams the Chiefs will face. And that's the way it's looking right now. But the Bills are guaranteed a playoff spot now. They will be either the 2 or the 7 seed because the Jags lost and because the Ravens lost as well. So that's what we're looking at right now. I like both matchups, honestly, for the Chiefs. I prefer the Steelers because it looks like TJ Watt's probably going to be missing some time with that knee injury he suffered last night in the Ravens game. But I think that both of these teams, we've already seen the Chiefs beat the Dolphins once, and that was on a neutral site. Arrowhead's rocking in the postseason. We know how it goes here in Kansas City. We know the tradition here in Kansas City. I feel really good about both those matchups.
A banged-up Dolphins team, too.
But yeah, we got to see what they do in this game. I still pick the Dolphins, as insane as it sounds. I think they still have enough offensively to get this game done. I think that the Bills in crunch situations, in big moments, they still fall down. But maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe the Bills will get that 2 seed. I'll give them the respect, but they haven't looked good for about 3 or 4 weeks. They've been winning games, but they've been squeaking out victories against backup quarterbacks. I think the Dolphins can still get this one done, but that is where we stand when it comes to who the Chiefs will be playing in the postseason. Do we have any other questions?
Our guy Chase on YouTube says, I'll rather play the Dolphins. The Steelers don't have anything to lose. Well, once you make the playoffs, everybody has something to lose at that point. We're all playoff teams, and it's win or go home. So, I mean, I disagree. I think the Steelers are one of those sneaky teams that you can overlook and can be and then Mike Tomlin coaching these teams always finds a way to make things close and tight and uncomfortable. So either one of those teams is going to be a competitor because in the Chiefs we it's not like we're some team that's going to go and destroy anybody, right? So if we could get the Steelers or the Dolphins, I disagree with that. I mean, either one of those teams, it's going to be a competitive game. I think the Dolphins obviously are more of a challenge because they have the offense. I think that can go and put up some points. The Steelers, I'm not really too afraid of their offense. Mason Rudolph or Tua and Tyreek, I mean, I'm more worried about Tua and Tyreek and then that running game of Miami. So, but as far as questions, man, that's not too much questions really. We just got some stats from our statistician John Harrison in the chat, giving us a bunch of historian takes over here. But other than that, man, everyone's.
I do agree with Clean the Air with E when they said, and we can put that on the screen. Sure. I don't care who we play; we have to get past ourselves.
Exactly, that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's the point, and that's actually you stole my words right out of my mouth because I was literally going to say that right after Trevor was done.
Right.
That's the point. Is that the Chiefs, I do believe, can beat anybody in the postseason. And I'm not just talking AFC, I'm talking about NFC. I do believe the Chiefs could beat the 49ers.
Sure.
I believe the Chiefs could beat the Rams or the Ravens. I do believe that, and even the Rams. The Rams look scary. But I do believe that the Chiefs can do that. The problem is exactly what Clean the Air with E said, is the Chiefs get in their own way with turnovers and just bad execution offensively and just drops and things of this nature to where you just feel like they're taking on themselves more than their own opposition and they lose a frustrating 21-17 kind of game. So let's hope that this sharpens up. Let's hope now that a lot of the key players got to rest this week, come into this game mentally, emotionally, and physically charged up and ready to go for whoever they face. It doesn't, to me, like I said, guys, I've told you guys for weeks on the Spoken podcast, to me, it doesn't matter who the Chiefs face at any level of this playoff push. It matters to me who are the Chiefs that day. If the Chiefs go out there and play their game, they're going to get back to the Super Bowl, even though I have my legitimate concerns, because they don't play their game hardly ever this season. Like I said, this is the first winning streak they've had in over 2 months. That's a problem, guys. Yep. When you've played over 2 months of football since the last time you've had a winning streak. So here we are looking at a team now that is finally, hopefully, getting hot, winning 3 of their last 4, 2-game winning streak. Let's hope that is something they build upon going into the postseason, regardless of who they're facing. Because, yes, they face the Steelers. I guarantee you, Trevor, that line's going to be 6.5, 7. I guarantee you if they play the Dolphins, it's going to be 6.5, 7. It's going to be, the Chiefs are going to be a legit touchdown favorite in that game. Will they live up to that is the question. And I never will doubt Patrick Mahomes. Like I said, this to me has not been a Super Bowl team over the last month, but Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I think he can will them if guys just catch the damn ball.
Yeah.
If they just catch the damn ball, then we're not sitting here worrying about stuff because this defense can carry them to another Super Bowl, and then Patrick Mahomes can get the job done. It's just all about them executing. So I'm with you guys, and now I'm looking forward to watching this this Dolphins-Bills game to see what is decided. We wait and see when games will be played. We don't know if the Chiefs will play Saturday or Sunday. Well, I'm sure we'll figure that out by night's end. They'll probably have the schedules ready to go for us, and then we will be talking more about this as the week goes on. And just a little side note, if you guys are not already following Trevor and I, we have the bottom of the screen. You'll see all of our social medias. Hit us up on Facebook as well, guys. We got over 5,000 people in our Facebook group. We'd love to hear you guys because we talk all day long, every single day. It doesn't end just on these live streams. We talk on there as well. We talk on Twitter all the time as well. And more importantly, get on our YouTube channel. We're at the Spoken Podcast. Hit us up, hit subscribe, like, notify, and then get in our comments as well on our Saturday shows. We keep the conversation rolling, guys. This is our post-game show, and we absolutely love this. It sucks we didn't get to have Book tonight. But nevertheless, I'm sure we'll have them during the postseason for as long as that goes. Hopefully it's going to be for at least another 4 weeks. But we're really excited about this. Trevor and I are really excited about this, and we'd love to have you guys on Saturdays. It starts at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, where we talk all things Chiefs, all things sports all the time. Right. We have great guests, great times, and we'd love for you guys to join us in our Speak It segment when we take over. You guys take over the entire platform, and you guys chime in with your questions, takes, concerns, questions, whatever you have. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, Trevor, do you have anything else to add before we get the hell out of here, man?
Like and subscribe, baby.
Yeah.
That's about it, man.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate your guys' time tonight. Wanted to keep it a little brief because I know you guys are going to want to focus in on this very important Sunday night football game, like I said, between the Dolphins and the Bills in Miami at Hard Rock. I think it's Hard Rock Stadium, if I'm not correct. If I'm not wrong. Really excited about this one. I picked the Dolphins. We'll see what happens. Trevor picked the Bills. Let's see what happens, guys. But nevertheless, Chiefs get a victory on a winning streak, 3 of last 4. Let's see if they can continue to push that into the postseason. This has been the Chattin of the Chiefs postgame show with your host Lance Twidwell and Trevor Twidwell. We appreciate Starcade Media. We appreciate all of you guys for what you guys do for us, making this thing fun. And cannot wait to talk to you guys about the hopefully a Chiefs playoff W next week. Hopefully on Sunday, because I would prefer a Sunday game, but I won't complain too much because the team's back in the postseason for the 9th consecutive season.
Thanks.
You guys have an awesome week, and we'll be here in 1 week's time to talk more about the Chiefs. See y'all later.
Later.